Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be an exciting one. I have dug through my collection and I have found all of my dupes. And I have created this entire makeup look using half drugstore and half high-end makeup. So I want you to pause this video right now and let me know which one you think is high-end and which side you think is drugstore, because I can't tell a difference. And I am pretty excited about that. So if you want to see what products I used and which side of my face is drugstore and which side of my face is high-end, then just keep watching. Okay, starting out, I'm going to start by using the Benefit Porefessional. And I am going to use this on both sides of my face because I do use this primer every single day. And I don't have one that I use from the drugstore. So I have a recommendation, which is the Maybelline Baby Skin. And it's got that kind of like dimethicone, like silicone kind of feel, which I feel like really helps fill in my pores. And oh my gosh, my face is red right now. But I really love the Porefessional, and I think that it does a really good job of concealing my pores right here where they tend to be really bad. Okay, so now going in with my two foundations. I have the Estee Lauder Double Wear and then I have the Maybelline Superstay. So the Estee Lauder one is nowhere near my color, but the Maybelline is, and I'm really worried that that's going to really be my downfall, but I'm really going to try and make it work because I do think that these are pretty good dupes for each other. I do feel like the Estee Lauder one is a little bit more high coverage, but I feel like you can achieve that with the Maybelline one if you just kind of build it up. I'm going to do drugstore on this side and then high-end on this side. So I'm going to go in first with my Estee Lauder Double Wear. And we are going to see just how bad of a color match this is. I had myself color matched at the store, and this girl did not know what she was doing. So this is nowhere near my color, but I'm just going to try and make it work because this is what we're working with. And I wasn't about to go buy this foundation again. So this is what we're working with. Doesn't look so bad right now on camera. Hopefully it doesn't pick up how yellow it really is, but I guarantee as soon as I put the other one on, it's going to look horrible next to it. So we're just gonna pray that this can work. So I am going to take a brush to bring it onto my neck, and then I'm going to use my beauty blender for the rest of it. I'm hoping with concealer and powder we can make the two sides of my face match. That is the hope. So right now it actually doesn't look that bad. Maybe I can make this work. Now I'm going to go in with the Maybelline Superstay, and I am in the color 112 Natural Ivory, and I'm just going to dot that on the face. And I'm just going to blend it on the neck with the brush again. And go back in with my beauty blender. Okay, I'm slightly impressed with how these two blended out. Let me zoom in. I feel like you can't tell that I'm wearing two different foundations or two different colors. Maybe on my neck. So just a few things between the two foundations. The Maybelline one feels a lot less tacky than the Estee Lauder one. So if you have dry skin, I don't think you would have to set the Maybelline side, but the Estee Lauder side, I feel like you definitely would have to. But I set my face regardless, so I'm going to be setting both sides anyways. But just a little side note, I definitely feel like the Maybelline side sets better than the Estee Lauder side, and I definitely feel like this side is heavier. Moving on to eyebrows. For the drugstore side, I'm going to be using the NYX Microbrow, and then for the high-end side, I was going to be using the Benefit Precisely My Brow, but I just clicked this up and I have like a 1/2 millimeter left, and there's no way that's going to fill a whole eyebrow in for me, but I definitely think that these two are dupes. So I will just be using the Microbrow on both eyebrows, and I'm going to do that off camera and then I'll be right back. Okay. Okay, eyebrows are on. Moving on to set them, I'm going to be using the Essence Make Me Brow. And this is a literal dupe for the Benefit Gimme Brow. It is same packaging and everything, and this is what I've been using to set my brows. It's just like a tinted brow gel, I guess, and I think it has like little fibers in it. Yeah, it's got like little fibers, so it kind of helps create hair like strokes as well. I just really love this, and this is in the shade 01 Blondie Brows, and I'm just going to run that through both of my eyebrows. Now I'm going to be starting on the eyes, and to do that I'm going to use an eyeshadow primer. Now I don't have one from the drugstore. I just have this one, which is the Too Faced Shadow Insurance, and this is what I've always used. You can use a concealer if you want, and that really does the same thing, but in order to give both eyeshadow looks a fair chance, I'm just going to be using the one, and I'm going to use this on both eyes. So for the eyes today, I'm going to be testing out the Wet n Wild Rose in the Air palette versus the Modern Renaissance palette. So, as you can see, these are pretty close dupes, and we are going to put them to the test. Okay, starting out, I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild palette, and I'm just going to take this matte cream shade, and I'm going to put that all over both lids because there isn't a matte cream shade in the Modern Renaissance palette. Because we need to set that primer, so we are going to start with the same base on both sides. Wow, that was super pigmented. Holy cow. I'm really impressed so far. There is quite a bit of fallout from the Wet n Wild palette, but there's also quite a bit of fallout from the Modern Renaissance palette as well, which I don't personally mind. I feel like when there's fallout, the shadows are more pigmented, and I'm okay with that. Starting out on the drugstore side, we're going to go in with this color here, which is the transition shade, and it is the darker and warmer transition color. And I'm just going to put that right here and into the crease. So now with the Modern Renaissance palette, I'm going to go in with the color Burnt Orange. Going in with the same brush, but I cleaned it off first. And we're just going to put that in the crease as well. Okay, so now going in with a smaller crease brush, I'm going to be taking this darker orange shade right here. And I'm going to put that right here on the outer corner. And going in with this shade here, which is called Lauder, with the same kind of brush, and put that on the outer corner. Going back in to this transition color on a flat shader brush, I'm taking this in a different direction than I thought. So I'm going to just put that all over the lid. And then with that color Burnt Orange, I'm going to do the same thing to the other eye. So I wanted to go a little bit darker with this, so I added that color to the lid. I'm going to be taking this red right here, taking that red, dusting some of that off, and I'm going to put that right on the outer corner. Now on that same brush, I'm just going to flip it over and use the other side with this color here, Red Ochre. So I'm going to go back in with this red color here on the Wet n Wild side to build that intensity up to match the other side. I'm going to go back in with the first brush we used, and I'm going to try and just blend that into the crease a little bit. I'm going to be going back in with this orange color here that we used, and I'm going to put that sort of as a transition from this really dark red onto the lid. So I'm going to put this right here in the center. And then with the same orange from the Modern Renaissance palette, I'm doing that on this eye. I'm gonna go in and just blend out some edges here. We'll come back to the eyes and finish those in a minute, but I wanted to go ahead and do my concealer and clean up the edges of my shadow. For concealer, I'm going to be using the Tarte Shape Tape on the Highend side, and then I'm going to be using the Fit Me Concealer from Maybelline on the Drugstore side. Now, I don't think these are spot-on dupes, but I do feel like I use them interchangeably. That's the only reason I'm comparing these two. So the Tarte one is definitely a lot thicker than the Maybelline one, but I just love the Fit Me concealer, so I'm going to be using these two. So I'm using the Fit Me concealer in the shade 15 Fair. And then I'm just going to take my beauty blender and blend it in. So for setting powders, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Fit Me Loose setting powder for the Drugstore side and the Laura Mercier Translucent setting powder for the Highend side. So this Maybelline powder I have been using non-stop. I love it, and I think it is such a great powder, and it has replaced my Highend powders for sure. I'm just blending out my under eye again just to make sure I'm not setting a crease. And I'm just going to pick up that powder and just sort of bake with it. So I'm going to use that powder to just set pretty much where we put the concealer, and we'll dust it away in a second. I'm using the Laura Mercier Translucent setting powder, and this was my go-to powder for a really long time. I don't use it anymore because I use the Maybelline and that did so. Maybelline, I haven't had any flashback with it. That is one of the big things I look for with a setting powder, and I haven't had a problem at all with flashback, so I love that about that as well. And the fact that it's like drugstore prices, so now I don't have to spend almost $40 on a setting powder. Alright, so for setting the rest of the face, I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild pressed powder. This is the Photo Focus pressed powder. I love this. So I don't have a high-end pressed powder because I go through these so quickly that I just don't see the point in me buying a high-end one, and honestly I haven't found one that I like. But the Maybelline Fit Me and this one, which is the Photo Focus, like I said, I love. So I'm just going to use this and I'm going to set my whole face. So I'm just going to go ahead and dust away the excess powder that we have under the eyes. And we're going to go back in and finish the eyes. Zooming back in. So I'm going to go in with this matte cream shade again. And I'm going to be putting that right on the brow bone. And then I'm going to blend it out. And for the Modern Renaissance side, I'm going to use tempera, but this one has quite a bit of shimmer in it. So I'm going to try to not have the shimmer show up as best as I can, but we'll see. Now I'm going to be using this gold shade right here for the inner corner. So I'm just going to take that on a flat packing brush, and I'm going to pop that on the inner corner. Now with the Modern Renaissance palette, I'm going to take the shade Primavera, and I'm going to put that on the inner corner as well. Now for the lower lash line, we're going to go in with this transition shade here, and with the Modern Renaissance, that is the burnt orange color. And I'm taking that on a flat smudge brush. I'm going to put that right up next to the lower lash line, and I'm going to bring that color all the way in. Now I'm going to be going in with the two oranges that are similar, which is this top orange and then Realgar from the Modern Renaissance palette. And I'm going to take this one in about halfway. And lastly, I'm going to take the color, this red color right here, and I'm going to be taking that with the red ochre shade from the Modern Renaissance palette, and I'm going to just put that right on the outer part of the lower lash line. Now going in with a clean brush, I'm just going to smoke both of those out. So now that our eyes are done, we can move on to the rest of the face. So moving on to the face, I'm going to be using the Butter Bronzer as the bronzer for the Drugstore side, and then the Too Faced Sweethearts Bronzer in Sweet Tea for the Highend side. These are two of my favorite bronzers ever, and they look pretty similar. I feel like when you mix both of these colors, you get something similar to this, and I love both of them. So I'm just going to be using a big fluffy bronzer brush, and first I'm going to go in with the Butter Bronzer, and I'm just going to bronze up the face. So now I'm going in with the Too Faced bronzer. I'm going to tap off the excess. For contour, I'm going to be going in with the e.l.f. Contour Palette, and I'm going to be using this shade right here. And then for the high-end side, I'm going to be using the Hoola Bronzer. So these are pretty similar, and I'm just going to take that on a contour brush. So for blush, I'm going to be going in with the e.l.f. Blush palette, and I'm going to be taking this color right here on the Drugstore side, and then on the high-end side I'm going in with Too Faced's Love Flush Blush and Love Hangover. And in the pan they don't look too similar. Actually, they don't look too far off, but when you apply them they look very, very similar, and that's what they look like swatched next to each other. So I feel like they're close enough as a dupe. Just going in with the blush on this side. Now I'm going in with this one. Now on to highlight. I have a couple different highlight dupes, but I think I'm going to save them for later. So I'm just going to be showing you one today. But the one that I'm going to be using today is Wet n Wild Precious Petals, which looks like this. And that is a dupe for Ofra's Blissful, which is this color right here. So I'm just taking the Precious Petals on a highlight brush. With the same brush, I'm going to flip it over, and then I'm going to be using the Blissful highlight from Ofra. So these are probably the best dupe I have, period. I love the Better Than Sex mascara, but it has been replaced by Lash Paradise because it is half the price and it is just as good, and I love it. So I'm just going to apply the mascara, and I'll be right back. So now mascara is on, and on this side I use the Better Than Sex, and on this side I used the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. I am pretty sure you can't tell the difference. And lastly, we have lips. So for the high-end side, I'm going to be using the Urban Decay Vice lipstick in the shade Back Talk, and the Drugstore side, I'm going to be using Maybelline's Touch of Spice. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed making it. It was super fun to sit down and try and find what I had in my collection and what is really dupes for each other, and hopefully this will save you some money in the long run, so you don't have to buy the high-end stuff. You can just use the Drugstore, because honestly there are so many amazing things at the Drugstore and they get overlooked a lot of times, but I definitely think that what I use in this video are some of the best products at the Drugstore, and some that I use almost every single day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and always remember to stay trendy.